Welcome to КьюАй, where tonight we'll be strapping on our snowshoes, saddling up our elks and heading to the frozen north. Or as they say in Danish, nu skal vi afsted til det bedste land i verden, og det er selvfølgelig Danmark. Altså... I know. I've been here no time at all, and we're already doing it in 2 languages. Let's meet our nefarious Norseman, the cool Jason Manford. The chilled Lucy Beaumont. The howling waste that is Rhod Gilbert. And an absolute zero, Alan Davies. So our northern noises come from Iceland because their buzzers are all Bjorky. So Jason goes...
It's oh so quiet.
And Rhod goes...
It's oh so still.
I like it.
And Lucy goes...
All alone.
And Alan goes... Excellent. Now, I've asked you all to bring your favourite thing about Denmark. So, obviously, my very first question is going to be, what's the second best thing to come out of Denmark? And we will start with Alan. We'll start with Alan.
It's you, Sandi.
Oh. And this week's winner is Alan. Come on, favourite thing from Denmark.
Pastries.
Which?
Danish
they're not-
ones.
Danish
from
pastries,
Denmark,
they're not
though.
from Denmark.
They're not from there.
They're from Vienna. They were made by Viennese pastry chefs in Copenhagen. We called it Wienerbrød, so Vienna bread, actually.
I know that Copenhagen is on the same line of latitude as Glasgow.
Is that your gift to me, that particular fact?
No. No. There's a Danish thing that's not really a thing.
Right.
It's like a hug,
Yes.
but it's a hoog.
It's a hygge.
It's a thing. It's like
hygge.
a feeling.
Yeah. It doesn't translate. It's the most wonderful word, and what it means is to get together with your friends, usually in candlelight, and to feel really mellow and enjoy yourself, and in general, that involves alcohol.
Yeah, that's that's my gift to you.
Thank you. Oh, that is lovely. We say that to our friends. We ring them up and say, come over, we'll hygge, and it just means bring beer.
We'll have a nice time.
Yeah. Now, Lucy, surely you've got a little something for me as a gift.
My favourite thing to come out of Denmark is Saga Noren, the character.
Ah, played by the genius Sophia Helen in The Bridge. So the only trouble with that, and I love the gift, is she's Swedish.
It's very similar, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
See, you're very particular about what's Danish and what doesn't really matter.
Yeah, you know there was a murder on that bridge, don't you?
She does come out of Denmark quite a lot, doesn't she?
She does, but she's visiting. She's... I mean, I have to say, it is the most brilliant thing, though. Her portrayal of Saga Noren is astonishing. It's the best portrayal of a person with Asperger's I've ever seen.
I know. I've never been so influenced by anything. And sometimes I feel like her. When I'm walking towards a car to get in it, I feel like her, like when she walked towards her car. I did it the other day in Waitrose.
Can you show us, like, how you got in the car? Like, what you did?
I'm not without a car, no, I don't think.
Right, what about Jason?
My favourite thing about Denmark, or from Denmark, of course...
Oh, that
is
this. Absolutely brilliant.
I must give it its official BBC title.
Yes.
Generic Danish interlocking children's building set. It's Lego, of course.
That's fantastic. So, Rhod, you have to top the interlocking gift.
Well, when I was asked to, you know, my favourite thing about Norway, I didn't really know a lot about... Denmark, sorry. Does it matter? Come on!
So what if I said, oh, those use Welsh and the Scots. They're exactly the same.
Well, as an Englishman,
Exactly.
I mean...
You get lynched. I'm fine. There's no Danish people here apart from you. All right, Denmark.
Denmark,
You
thank you.
insist.
I do.
Denmark. Right, I didn't know much about Denmark, Norway. Call it what you want. I didn't know much about it. So I sort of I googled it.
Right.
And it always comes up as like the happiest place or the second
Yes,
in the surveys.
indeed, yeah.
It's always
Absolutely
comes up
right.
as the.
Yep.
Although coincidentally, it's always the happiest place and the largest consumers of antidepressants. So I don't know if that's linked. Just a thought.
It's because they do chocolate-flavoured ones.
Well, some people say it's the high incomes or the low levels of inequality, the large welfare state, the good education.
Yes, darling, not really a speech, more of a gift,
Right.
is what we're...
Well, I don't think it's because of any of those things.
Right.
I think it's because they have a strict controls over breaking wind in public, because I found this sign. Since the smoking ban, I'm all for this kind of thing.
Unfortunately, the word fart means speed, and so this is a speed restriction area. But also, rather pleasingly, the word for timetable is fart plan.
Oh, I've needed one of those for years. A proper fart plan.
Yes.
A daily
It's
fart
sorted.
plan.
Where you are, who you're with.
So Denmark does lead the world in many, many things. What is the main thing that it leads the world in?
Fairy tales.
Oh, that would be nice. Although they're quite miserable, actually. The real Hans Christian Andersen
Yeah.
stories are quite sort of dark.
Sawing the feet off.
Yeah.
There is an obsession with... I've noticed this with watching the kids' programmes, the Disney films and stuff. There is an obsession with dead parents.
Yeah.
And it comes from that Hans Christian Andersen. I don't know why it is, but one or both of them are either dead already or killed within the film at some point.
OK, so heading for parenting, I'm going to try and get us to the
Go on.
answer. It isn't Hans Christian Andersen that we're looking for, the largest
What was the
export.
question?
I'm looking for what Denmark leads the world in. you see.
Parenting.
I saw a lovely Danish surfer on eBay. Is it?
No.
Surfers.
Childbirth.
Also, I thought you said surfer, so for a brief moment, I'm trying to think of a Dane surfing.
Is it something to do with childbirth and
It is. It's something exported from Denmark.
Babies.
It's to do with childbirth.
Umbilical cords. Stem cells.
The audience is going to start screaming in a minute. And the word they're going to start screaming is sperm. It is the world's largest... They are the world's largest exporter of human sperm, and certainly in the UK, due to a shortage of homegrown donors, and also because the laws mean you can't be anonymous in the UK, about a third of the total used by British fertility clinics is Viking sperm.
Wow.
Why have they got so much? Is it because it's dark, like 20 hours into 20...
It doesn't get dark in Denmark like that, does it?
How do you cope with having 1.5 hours daylight?
It doesn't happen! It doesn't happen! Denmark's the same as Scotland, where you come from!
In winter, a Danish winter is about 1.5 hours
Which is not no, darling.
Keep saying the same thing! It's wrong!
It's not, it's true, an hour and a half.
So, no, darling.
I've been there, it was an hour and a half.
Here's the thing, if that's not true, and the more you say it, the more points are going to make it not true for you.
All right, so when I went to Denmark, right,
Was it night time?
it was winter. I was at
Rhod, is you come home late, you've slept through the day. I did it as a teenager. You wake up at 5 in the afternoon. If you don't see the daylight, you're like a ghost.
But for all
It was dark for 20-odd hours
All right, tell me,
per
but-
day in winter.
But your inability to distinguish the Scandinavian countries means it's possible you were in Norway.
It's possible. It is possible that I was in one of the other countries. But is it not true? It was about an hour and a half in winter.
Stop saying it!
It took me 9 years to go
Where's
to
the buzzer?
There's no trees in China. There you are. It's exactly the same thing. The largest exporter of sperm, also the largest exporter of wind turbines, grass seed, the world's largest producer of insulin, and the world's most popular toy, of course, the interlocking brick, as we shall call it.
Yes.
The mermaid, which is the symbol of Denmark, it's a rather sad story. She's had her head decapitated.
Oh.
Twice. I know.
She looks good for it.
She looks good, doesn't she? Twice somebody's cut her head off and swum off with it, because she's out, actually, in the harbour. Her arm has been cut off.
Is it the same person each time?
I don't know.
Collecting a mermaid.
There was once somebody swam out and put a dildo in her hand. For
What's wrong with
I'm
that?
surprised it was in time with only 90 minutes daylight.
I know. It's a wonder they could see her, frankly. Anybody know what we use pretty much every single day in the modern world, which comes
Fish?
Also from Denmark?
Oh.
It's a modern thing that we use. What do you use every single day?
Tin opener.
A tin opener is the most modern device that...
Electric tin opener.
It's Bluetooth. Bluetooth comes from Denmark, and that is the symbol for Bluetooth, and it represents the runes of H and B, which is Harald Bluetooth, who was the king of Denmark, and he was the king who unified the Scandinavian countries. And when Bluetooth was invented, because it unified the way in which we communicate together, the symbol for Harald Bluetooth, the king of Denmark...
Was he always talking to himself?
Constantly.
He would like,
It was relentless.
Harold, are you talking to me? I'm on the phone, mate. I'm on the phone. Sorry, Harold.
You mentioned Denmark, world happiest country in the latest happiness report, followed by Switzerland, Iceland, Norway and Finland. UK, 23rd, just behind Mexico and Singapore, those happy places. There's some fabulous world records that Denmark holds. The highest jump by a rabbit. 99.5 centimetres. This one I love. The fastest time to peel and eat 3 lemons. 28.5 seconds. Wow. That's fantastic,
That is tough. I mean, the peeling by itself.
The one I couldn't do is the fastest 100 metres wearing high heels. It says in brackets female. I don't know if there's a different one. The fastest 100 metres wearing high heels is 13.557 seconds. Wow. It was hotly contested.
Wow, that's not that far. Isn't it 100 metres in running trainers? About 10 seconds.
Running trainers.
Yes, it's not that... that's
impressive.
Usain Bolt, do you have your running trainers, Mr. Bolt?
They do have separate trainers for different things, bro.
You've forgotten your plimsolls, Mr. Bolt.
OK, enough about Denmark. I never thought I'd say that. What's moving towards Russia at 35 miles per year?
Denmark. It must be.
You're definitely going to win. Definitely you're going to win.
Is it the London to Moscow megabus?
Is it America?
Is it America? No, but it is a sort of a thing.
Oh, North Pole is ends. We're looking at ends.
It is. We are looking at ends.
Ah.
It is. Which North Pole?
The North one.
Magnetic
The
North.
South one.
It is absolutely right. Alan is exactly right. It is the magnetic North
Sandy, you're not
Pole.
going to give him a point on the back of my... are you?
Do you know...
How does that work?
All I can say to you, Rod, whatever happens to the whole of the rest of the show, you're not going to win.
Every time you said it's about an hour and a half a daylight, you're on 10 points.
Just seriously, you are going to be so behind. It's going to be a new QI score low.
They've actually...
You wait till the BBC Diversity Department hears about this.
No, we've already had our quota of Scots. We're fine. You're absolutely right, Alan. It is the magnetic North Pole, so that's best described as the place to which compasses point. It was in northern Canada until 2015. It is slowly moving towards Russia at about 35 miles an hour. It's currently in...
35 miles an hour now.
I mean, 35 miles a year.
It's in the back of someone's car.
It's in the back of a Skoda.
They got the Little Mermaid in one hand and the North Pole in the other.
Some Canadian. Hey, Russia.
It's actually... what's an interesting thing about it is, although we call it the magnetic North Pole, you can't really find it by looking, because compasses don't work very well when you get close to the pole. So I have a compass here. And in fact, on air navigators' charts, this area is known as compass unreliable area, or sometimes it's also known as the compass useless. Compass useless area. So why might that be?
Because you want it to be pointing that way, but it's It's that way.
It's actually right, it's pointing straight
Yeah.
down. So instead of the thing being level, it's being dragged downwards, and the friction of it pushing down is going to stop it from spinning round. So the one place you can't use a compass is anywhere near the magnetic North Pole.
Surely you're there, you've arrived, so it doesn't matter, does it?
Would you not
It's like
exactly...
one of those water divining things. It's like saying they're useless once you've got to water.
No, you're not... The thing is...
You don't use a compass, just...
throw this
Right,
away.
I've got a compass. Let's all go to the North Pole. Like, you're trying to find a way home, aren't you?
It's a bit like arriving in Norway and thinking you're in Denmark. Do you know what I mean? What's the difference between the magnetic North Pole and the geographic North Pole?
Well, the geographic North Pole's a bit off.
Well, actually, if you spun a basketball or any ball, the geographic North Pole would be here.
The top, and the magnetic one's off.
Yeah, the magnetic one is
Bound to
exactly...
get it the wrong way
Just
round.
close, very close.
Bound to get
So
it.
all the poles are on the move. They did new measurements in 2016, and...
Right, Nigel Farage, calm down.
Story of UKIP hell. The geographic North Pole has been moving towards the British Isles, in fact, by 10 centimetres a year for the last 2 decades, and that's due to displacement of water. Ownership of the geographic North Pole is disputed, actually, between Russia and Canada and Denmark. And to strengthen their claim, I quite like this, Russia has used a submarine to plant an actual pole at what they consider to be the geographic North Pole. They did it in 2007. It's on the seabed. It's a titanium rod holding a Russian flag. But here's the fun bit. It's, of course, now in the wrong place. The magnetic North Pole is moving imperceptibly slowly towards Russia, along with fashion, democracy and gay rights. Do you know the one about the Dane and the Canadian arguing about a rock and a hard place?
The Dane is Hamlet, and the Canadian Celine Dion. Have they fallen out, have they?
No, it's an actual place. Think about a Danish-dependent territory.
Greenland.
Greenland. So...
Close to Canada.
Yep. So the Nares Strait is the bit that passes between the Danish-dependent territory of Greenland and Canada's Ellesmere Island. And the border of the two countries passes down the centre of the strait and right through a barren rock called Hans Island, named after a great Inuit explorer called Hans Henrik.
Hans Christian Island.
It is. It should have been. But this is the... There it is. There's
Oh, it's
nothing...
beautiful.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's really lovely, but it's the most civilised conflict in the world. What they do is they both agree, first of all, to inform each other if they're going to visit. It's quite nice. When the Danish military go there, they leave a bottle of schnapps. When the Canadian military forces go, they leave a bottle of Canadian Club and a sign that says, "Welcome to Canada." Which I think is positively inflammatory. Anyway, there's some talk of the two countries running it as a park together. I don't know why you'd want to visit, but...
Swings.
Swings and... roundabouts.
This is a load of hammered soldiers.
The Danes don't like to be too belligerent. There's another lovely example of Danish belligerence. It's the protest pig. This was very popular in the late 19th century. So the Prussian forces had invaded southern Denmark, and they banned all Danish symbols, and the pigs were bred so that their white markings and their ruddy colour imitated the Danish flag. They were known as protest pigs. Isn't that sweet? Good. They're very polite people. In Denmark, it's illegal to desecrate foreign flags, but you help yourself in burning your own. Quick extra question. Polite Nordic gifts. Finland is going to be 100 in 2017. That's another totally separate country that we haven't even mentioned yet. And Norway's going to give them a present. What are Norway thinking of giving Finland for their 100th birthday?
Denmark.
I'm guessing it's not going to be a Christmas tree.
No, it's a really big thing. It's a really big
A
present.
warship.
No, you were closer with the tree thing. You were closer with a natural
forest?
thing. Bigger than
National
that.
park?
Is it something made out of ice?
Well, there is ice involved, yes.
An
there's
island?
ice. Bigger than that?
I went to a vodka ice bar
Did
in
you?
Norway. It's amazing.
That's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is really good fun.
Yeah, but you
As
can-
far as I remember.
What's
It's
your
not
most...
that, no.
What tin do you open most frequently in terms of type of content?
Tin.
Yeah, because you said you
Tin opener.
use your tin opener every day.
Yeah.
Biffa peas.
Biffa peas?
Yeah.
I've no idea what biffa peas are.
Okay. What is a biffa?
I've no idea what biffa peas are.
I think they're the big ones. aren't they?
Marifat peas.
Big fat peas.
Oh, right, sort of swollen.
Yeah. They're really nice with a Sunday dinner.
Right. I'm going to go back to... What do you think Norway is going to get Finland for its... Norway is going to in Finland. Yes. Bjorky.
Is it Marafat peas?
Is it a large piece of land, a forest?
It is. It is a massive piece of land. Here is the thing that Norway has that Finland doesn't really have. Norway has hundreds of very big mountains, and Finland doesn't. And this is the nicest gift. They're going to give them a mountain.
Oh, wow.
OK, this is the Halti range. It's on the border of the two countries. They're going to give them the Haldikotska Peak. It's only 4,366 feet high, but it doesn't even come into Norway's top 200 highest peaks. It will be Finland's highest mountain.
Oh. But they'll have to come and visit it. They can't... You can't put it over
It's on the
there.
border, so the border will just go... I like you so much because I found myself explaining that. I think you're a joy, that's what I think. Can I come to your house and eat fat peas? Anything more delightful. Now, Jason, my lovely boy.
Hello.
What impressive northern experience would you like to share with me right now?
What's my brother told you?
Something fantastic that happens far north.
Northern Lights, Northern Lights.
Northern Lights, the Northern Lights. In fact, depending on the strength of the solar wind, the Northern Lights can be seen as far south as Mexico and Egypt. The best place to see them tonight is here in the comfort of the studio, thanks to an object called a planetarella, which we will demonstrate. The Polar Light Simulator has been lent to us by the Department of Physics and Astronomy at the University of Leicester. It was designed by Jean Lillenson from CNRS, the French Centre National de la Recherche Scientifique, and it is provided by Leicester's Dr. Gabrielle Proven, who's going to tell us about it. Gabrielle. Gabrielle, I'm just looking at the machine. The big object is supposed to be the sun, is that correct?
Absolutely, yes.
And the little one is the Earth?
Yes.
And
yes.
so why does it happen?
Well, what happens is that the sun has a solar wind of charged particles that flow away from the sun and into interplanetary space. And when those charged particles come to the Earth, they get stuck onto the Earth's magnetic field lines, and they travel down into the northern and the southern polar regions, and they basically collide with our gases, and they excite the gases, and they make us shine.
So the different gases, what do the colours make? Are they like oxygen, for example, would make what colours?
Oxygen would make red and also green.
And nitrogen?
That is actually blue or purple. So in there's a lot of nitrogen, and that's why you're getting the purple glow.
Now, it's fantastic that we can have it contained like that, so I imagine this is a very, very modern experiment.
It's actually over 100 years old.
Who invented it?
Christian Birkeland, yes.
See, he sounds Scandinavian to me.
He was Norwegian at the time that...
And where are you from, Gabrielle?
I'm from Norway.
All right. It's the full Scandinavian picture. Gabrielle Proven, thank you very much. I mean, amazing today to see it live, but if you can actually go, and what I love about it is I love the myths associated. So the Sami people, indigenous people of Norway, Sweden, Finland and Russia, they believe that the Northern Lights emanated from the souls of the dead and should be treated with great respect. Greenland, the lights were seen as the souls of stillborn babies.
Oh. Do they move that fast, like what we're looking at now? Does it move that fast in the air?
It can do, yeah. It
Oh, wow,
absolutely
right.
can do.
That's what
That's
happens,
not
and
just
Lucy will verify this. If you turn the lights out in your kitchen and open a can of Biff and peas...
But
Very true, yeah.
you want to go when the sun is issuing the maximum number of flares. It goes in kind of cycles. It's an 11-year cycle, and it'll be next time, about 2024, sometime like that. It'll be the best time to go.
Really?
Now, we move south a little to another north place. What do the North Koreans do better than anyone?
Is it using only a pudding bowl and a Stanley knife?
Are you going for haircuts? Is that...
Yeah, they do create a haircut that is simultaneously hilarious and terrifying.
Looking at that picture, I would say it's solemnity.
It does look like solemnity,
What
but
they do best.
no, it's not that.
Looks like a...
Where's my glove? Where is my glove? I will not leave here till my glove is returned. And then he turns and he goes, there is no missing glove. My glove is at home.
I love the idea of being a dictator for comedic effect.
He always looks like a sort of cross between a Bond villain and Augustus Gloop. Somebody, if you upset him, you don't know if he's going to destroy the world in an instant or just refuse to give you one of his gobstoppers or something.
But the thing that they do best is that they make a fake something or other.
I imagine they make fake munitions to make it look like they've got more army than they have.
Yeah. It is fake US dollars. They make them better than anybody. They're known as super dollars due to their superb quality. Some people say they're better than the originals. And it took some very sophisticated forensic analysis to confirm.
They do sort of swell out in the middle, though. I'd thought
yeah, that's true. It's not the only contraband. Its methamphetamine is supposed to be of extraordinary high purity, and its counterfeit Viagra is rumoured to exceed the bona fide. Can you say that? Bona fide?
You have to say the bona
fide product, its potency. And the other fantastically successful North Korean export is fantastic. I love this. It's giant statues of African dictators. They make them better than anybody. It's brilliant. It's the Mansudai Art Studio Gallery, and they they've made statues for Angola, for Benin, Chad, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Ethiopia, Togo, and they seem to have a common theme of the leaders all hailing a taxi. That seems to be...
They're all playing Where's My Glove?
Yeah.
I'm not leaving! Until the glove is returned!
How big are they, Sandy?
They're huge, massive things.
I went to a gift shop in Lanzarote and they sold stuff like this.
Did they?
Yeah.
How big was the shop?
Yeah.
Everything you've just... It sounded like... And I think there was all sorts of dodgy stuff going on.
Well, the counterfeit is a thing, and it always has been a thing in terms of money. But about 3% of the pound coins in the UK are, in fact, counterfeit.
Yeah, every time I try to get a can of pop out of a machine.
Is that what...
Every time. Because you've got a system, haven't you? You've got to try and have, like... Try to wet it before now. Sometimes I try and take the machine by surprise.
Yes.
Well, I don't even want one.
How far do you work that back, lad? Do you
Like
come around the corner of the street in dark glasses and that? How far do you come around the back of the machine?
When it comes to banknotes, it's very hard to identify a wrong 'un from a young 'un. I didn't write it. Can I just say I did not write that? OK. From North Korea to North America, what can you see here? What do you think this is?
America.
Have you been to America?
Yeah.
Right, which parts have you been to?
All over.
Well, that doesn't narrow it down for me, but...
That's New
No,
York.
I think
It is New York, it is New York.
It's Niagara Falls without any water on it.
You are absolutely right. That is exactly what it is. What gave it away for you?
The viewing tower.
Well, what is incredible about it, this is a photograph from June 1969, and the water at Niagara normally goes over three falls. It goes over the American, the Bridal Veil and the Horseshoe. And the American falls had loads of debris at the bottom, which you can see there. It's known as talus, from the Latin for ankle, because it's thicker at the bottom. And all that debris was swirling and causing erosion of the falls. And so plans were to temporarily divert the water away from the American falls and over the Horseshoe and dry out the American so it could be cleaned. It is the most extraordinary picture. The construction company, the Alberta Elia Construction Company, they built a temporary dam in just 3 days out of 28,000 tonnes of earth. And the tourists flocked to see the dry American falls and the, of course, much stronger than usual Horseshoe falls. And lots of coins were recovered and two bodies.
Were they both in barrels?
One came out and went, thank God!
I found his glove!
Funnily enough, the very first person to go over the barrels is pretty much what she did say when she came out. It was a woman called Annie Edson Taylor, and she survived the experience in 1901. She was 63 years old at the time.
Crazy Annie.
Crazy Annie. She did it because she hadn't got any money. What I like about this, a few days before she did it, she sent her cat over the falls to see if the barrel would break. And after she came out...
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Wait, just check it out. After she came out, she said, "If it was with my dying breath, I would caution anyone against attempting the feat. I would sooner walk up to the mouth of a cannon knowing it was going to blow me to pieces than make another trip over the falls." She absolutely hated it.
Is that picture of her before or after she got in that barrel?
That is after, when she survived, yeah.
Right.
I think before
So
she
she
was
got
looking...
in like that and got out that, like with the hat still on and...
I presume that's still that barrel outfit. Well, the cat wasn't necessary, really. I don't think the cat was going to affect the strength of the barrel.
No, she hated that cat. It's an excuse to get rid of it.
It's fantastically dangerous. Captain Matthew Webb, who was the very first person to swim the English Channel, so a tremendously good swimmer, he died in an attempt to swim the Whirlpool Rapids below Niagara Falls. The water is phenomenally
You're going
hard.
to swim a Whirlpool Rapid if you've got one leg, apparently.
Oh, we must certainly test that out sometime. There's a wonderful waterfall in the city of St. John in New Brunswick in Canada, and the waterfall flows upwards. It's the most astonishing thing. Twice a day, the tide in the bay rises 28 foot 6 inches to the point that it overtops the waterfall over which the St. John River normally flows, and the river flows backwards.
Wow.
Is that amazing? Yeah.
We've learnt so much, haven't we? Oh,
You've got to be careful, though. You've got to be careful with this show, what you take away from it, because you can hear people in pubs and they'll say, "This happened," and you go, "No," and they go, "Saw it on QI." Like, it's become that. But I was chatting to a friend of mine. I said, I was thinking about going to Venice. And he said, I don't do Venice, full of racists.
What?
It's a racist town. I said, "How's it a racist town?" He says, "Yeah." He says, all the gondoliers, they've got to be black. They have to be black. I said, "I don't think that's true." He said, "No, it's true. I saw it on QI." He said, "Honestly, I don't know how they've got past the EU with it, but every single one of them has to be black." I said, "I don't think that's true." Anyway, about 3 days later, he rang me up. He went, "I meant gondolas, the actual gondola."
And Niagara Falls got its first really good clean in the summer of '69. And now, another dirty northern secret. What's the worst disaster that doggers ever experienced?
Child locks. When you have to wait for somebody to get out and let you out of the bus. It's like the walk of shame, but you're just lying there. I assume.
No, it's not that.
Are we looking for an N? Is it N? Is the answer an N?
It is a place in an N, if that is of assistance.
Is it Dogger Bank?
It is to do with dogger. It is not to do with dogging. It is indeed to do with Dogger Bank.
I was going to say a nipple trapped in an air vent. It's not that
I imagine window wipers are a nightmare.
They're used
They're not in the car, though, are they?
Yeah, but there's people watching.
Oh.
yeah. Automatic
How much do they get? Back off! You're supposed to be at the other side of the car park!
Depends how bad your eyesight is.
Casually!
OK, it's nothing to do with dogging.
Why did you put that car
Why
up
have you
then?
put a picture of some doggers up there in the car, then?
That is people on their way to the North Sea to see where Doggerland used to be, which is the worst-named amusement park of all time. It was an area of land which attached Britain to mainland Europe between East Anglia and the Netherlands, and it was populated by prehistoric humans. It very slowly flooded by rising sea levels until eventually it was deluged by a tsunami triggered by a massive undersea landslide in Norway in 6000 BC. So it now lies under the North Sea, so hence
Don't be offended, but you lost me a bit there.
OK, so...
It's attached to Britain, then there was a tsunami, an ice age, a volcano...
8,000 years ago...
Oh, I'm with you, yeah.
There was a bit of land...
Yeah.
And then there was a flood.
Right.
And now it's not there anymore.
Tewkesbury.
Clear? Was it clear?
done.
It was clear. You mentioned dogging. The actual dogging capital of Britain is a place called Elmbridge. It has 10 areas identified by the police as being places where strangers watch each other, knowing each other. I'm trying to be polite. Compared with, for example, just 2 in the whole of Sussex. And Elmbridge is...
I knew it'd be somewhere in the south, though.
Well, it's a very wealthy part.
Warmer, innit?
It's often known as... also known as England's Beverly Hills. It's 130,000 residents pay £1.2 billion in income tax, which is more than Newcastle and Cardiff combined.
Oh, my God.
More than Starbucks and Google combined as well.
It sounds like you're connecting those two things, though, the dogging thing and the tax. It's not a defence, is it?
No, I'm just saying that there's...
pay me taxes! How much have you paid? I'll bang it if I want.
What I'm saying is...
They've probably got electric windows.
Yeah.
They've got the old keep fit windows, haven't they?
If they had a doggerland for doggers...
Yes.
You know, and just make it more fun instead of sort of sinister.
So, have rides, you could have sex
Like
songs.
simulate, yeah. Make it, you know...
I like that.
Like a
I think that's a
Disneyland.
very good idea.
I forgot that Doggerland's underwater because they'd have to get all that
Scuba
equipment on.
Yeah.
And then have a little flap on your wetsuit. Your dog's got to have a little mask on.
Actually, in German, dogging just means exercising the dog, which is... I like that they're rather literal about it.
But they've got a word for the other stuff, though, haven't they?
You can imagine a German visiting Elmbridge would get a surprise. All this talk of the North brings us to the Arctic wastelands of general ignorance, so fingers on buzzers, please.
Very sensitive.
As indeed are my ears. Now, we all know where this comes from, don't we?
So quiet.
Jason.
Japan. It's got to be done, right? It's got to be done.
So here's the thing. In the 1970s, Japan didn't import fish, and salmon was not on any sashimi menu, and I love this. In the early 80s, there was a seafood delegation from Norway, totally different place to Denmark. And they began this thing called Project Japan, and they wanted to sell Norwegian salmon to the country, and these days, Norwegian salmon is the sashimi fish of choice, especially...
Can I just ask, do you know those salmon in that waterfall that goes backwards? Do they... What do they do there, then? Do they dive down, then? Or do they go up, but reverse up with the... It's a fair point, I think you'll...
It's going to keep me awake. Supplementary question. In Japanese cuisine, the milt, so M-I-L-T, the milt of some fish is a delicacy. Does anybody know what it is?
It's the leather trousers.
It's the leather trousers.
A milt is a mum in leather trousers.
No.
I think that's a Roger
It's
McGough.
something in the trousers.
Roger McGough.
Something in the trousers?
Something in the trousers, as it were. They don't wear trousers, but if they did, it would be in the trousers.
If a fish wore trousers, this would be in a fish's trousers.
It would be in a boy's fish's trousers.
Someone just shouted at sperm again. It can't be sperm every time, you know.
It is sperm.
It is sperm.
The correct name for fish sperm is milt. OK. Well, mollusks have it too, and they spray it on the roe. That's pretty much how it works. Japanese salmon sashimi actually comes from Norway. What's the one untrue thing that everyone in Norway believes about lemmings?
That they're Danish. No, that they... that they throw themselves off things in a kind of, you know, anthropomorphized suicide leap. Is that good enough?
It's not been a good show for you. No, in fact, the very first episode of КьюАй, it was talked about the fact that lemmings do not commit suicide.
No,
by
but hang
jumping.
on, wasn't the question, what was the one thing... So I was expecting to be...
Yes, but it isn't the most common...
That was a kind of double bluff.
It was. It isn't the most
God.
common myth about them in Norway. No, the most common myth in Norway is that lemmings are really angry. They don't look it, and they get so stressed that they burst.
Wow.
And parents Parents will tell children not to chase after lemmings in case they explode.
It's just going to make it worse.
I love that. I love a parent just lying to children. It's brilliant.
The myth seems to come back because lemmings got very aggressive if approached, and they used to shriek and jump about. And there's an old saying in Norway, as angry as a lemming.
Wow.
I know.
That's like my dad used to tell us that black pudding lived in the garden. Be out there for hours. Looking for wild black pudding. I mean, I feel like an idiot now.
Well, it's good of you to be here and share it with us. Finally, we go north of the border. What's the main source of sugar for the people of Scotland?
So stale.
Rhod.
I know it's going to go bring, and you're going to laugh at me, but deep-fried Mars bar, somebody's got to say it. The things I do. Is it edible bagpipes? Licorice bagpipes.
They do look like they're made of licorice, don't they? Something surprising, Lucy, that you think, oh, I...
I mean, sperm has been the running theme, hasn't it?
It's not their main source of sugar.
In Scotland?
In Scotland, yes.
In the whole of
Other places, maybe sperm is the very thing. It is fruit.
Oh.
Oh.
Unexpectedly, they did a study in 2015, and they found that the single biggest source of sugar in the Scottish diet is fruit, 12.3%. I mean, not saying that the Scottish diet is all that healthy, because soft drinks came second. And confectionery third, then biscuits, then cakes. Intriguingly, 65% of the Scottish population are either overweight or obese. Well, you'd know, Rhod. Scotland's sugar hit of choice is a healthy portion of fruit, deep-fried. All of which healthy eating brings us to the fruity matter of the scores, and let's have a look.
Oh, boy.
Starting with the winner, I'm going to tell you that the winner with 12 points is Alan!
Oh.
In second place with 2 points, it's Lucy! In third place, minus 16, it's Jason! Can't even remember the name of the man who came forth. He's gone from my mind. It's with minus 22, it's Rhod! Well, that's all from Lucy, Rhod, Jason, Alan and me. I've enjoyed our time in the North, and I leave you with this from the Danish mathematician Piet Hein. It's in the glove area, this one. Losing one glove is certainly painful, but nothing compared to the pain of losing one, throwing away the other, and finding the first one again. Good night.